Welcome to the Houdini HOULY Challenge Series. So, SideFX is holding a 31-day challenge where artists create a piece per day based on a daily topic. I've decided to take on the challenge and record each day's work so that you can see the process. I'm doing this so that I can challenge myself, and I'd recommend that you do the same. So, let's get straight into it. Right, so today is Drool, day 15. And that marks the halfway point, which is really cool. You know, it feels like I've been doing this forever, but we're only halfway. Yeah, so like I said in the previous video, I'm kind of sacrificing scales and Drool, partially because I don't really have any good ideas for them, partially because I'm comfortable with both the sort of scale and Drool idea, and mostly because I want to work on feathers. So I want to put more time into feathers. Okay, so Drool. I was thinking, you know, just kind of a xenomorph from Alien vs Predator, or just Alien. And I wanted a shot of an astronaut, and I thought astronaut because in my mind, an astronaut is simple to model in Houdini because you have the Tommy base mesh. You just put a ball on his head and he looks like an astronaut, I guess. We'll see if I'm right about that. But I wanted it to kind of look like a shot from maybe a sci-fi horror. So it would kind of be old school Jurassic Park mixed with a xenomorph kind of thing. So let's give that a bash and see where we end up. Right, so at the end of all of that, this is what I have. First thing to clear up, I was very wrong about an astronaut being simple. Astronauts are so complicated. They have so many things that make them look like astronauts. It's not just the thing on the head, it's not just the visor. So what I do is I boolean off the head, remesh, clip, make it slightly thicker so that I can use it as a cloth. I feed that vellum cloth into a vellum attach. I attach it back to the hands and neck, so then I can output that into a vellum network. So that goes into this astronaut dynamic operator. So it inflates, deflates, inflates a bit. Then what that allows is for some interesting wrinkles. How I got these wrinkles in these places is that I used an attribute paint. I can do that in the astronaut geometry. Or rather, not a paint, I grouped certain areas. Yeah, so you can see I grouped those parts over there. Turn that into an attribute, transferred it onto the constraints, so you end up with that. And then I used it to multiply the original rest length orig. So that just pulls in those areas, so they're kind of tighter. And what that allows is for some wrinkles. So that's how I got those wrinkles over there. Post-process, put that out. This is where I got carried away. So I had this, and I had my cloth, right? And then over here I vellum post-process it. And so these two should have been good enough for me, right? And then I decided that I should just spend the next 5 hours making an astronaut. And so I gave him like this neck thing, and And I gave him a proper helmet. You can see over there. I was like copying things to points and booleaning. After all of it, you end up with this, right? So you end up with an actual astronaut. He has this little thing on the head with the light inside. I'll show you how I did these pipe things because they're kind of cool. I'll also show you how I position these things on the chest and back, because that's a very useful technique that I picked up a while ago. So let me show you that. That's over here in this mess. Right, so when you want to put something onto a geometry, so say you want something to sit like flush on his chest, and you don't want to have to position it. A pretty cool way to do it is to blast out an area, average out the normals, right? So you can see that you have normals like that, but you want it averaged out, right? You want basically what the direction is. So you promote it to a detail, and you use the average promotion method. So then you promote that down again from detail to point, and I can show you that now. Now it all points in the same direction, right? So now you have normals that point straight off of the chest. And I do the same thing for the back, but I'll get back to that soon. And then you can copy whatever geometry you want to the chest, and it'll follow that same orientation, which is very cool. Like with the scales yesterday, you'll probably need to define an up vector. For this one, it was fine, I didn't need an up vector. But yeah, I just make this little thing, it's a grid with some edits and poly extrudes, copy some of these little buttons to the points, and you merge that. This one on the back, same thing. You blast a section, attribute promote your N to a detail, then bring it back down. So you can see it goes from this to this. This one I gave an up value, and then you can copy this to the back, and it always lines up flush, which is nice. So yeah, you end up with that. This over here was pretty cool. I was happy with the setup. It's quite interesting, so I'll show you what it does. Also note that it's a bunch of subnets. This is something that I would suggest you do when you're working with the setup and you know that you'll probably use it again. Try to turn it into a subnet so that you can just copy that subnet around and keep using it. For example, this over here is the same thing that I used for the Drool. For this over here, for connecting that point to that point, and those points over there, right? So I knew that I would need something that connects Drool, so I thought, why not make something that also connects these pipes? So what it takes is 2 points. So you blast any 2 points that you want, right? So I blast that one over there on the front, and that one over there at the back. Then, once you have that, you feed it into the subnet. The subnet takes the geometry and turns it into a VDB. So you just have basically a surface collider that you can use. Then you add those 2 points using an add node by group. You resample it so it has more points to it. And then you ray it based on minimum distance so that it sticks to the body. So now you have this running from the front to the back. I do a couple of things based on the curve view attribute. So curve view is just a value that runs from 0 to 1 based on where along the curve you are. So start point is 0, end point is 1, middle point is 0.5. So you can use that to adjust what I have here, which is weight. That P position, I can adjust how much this wire drops, right? So how much this cord drops, which is nice because it makes it like gravity almost. And then you can attribute transfer over the normals. So then you can push it away from the body based on those normals, right? So you say V at N times that weight. So the reason I do this weight thing is so that the start point and the end point don't move out of position. You'll notice that those are the only two that stay in place, right? It goes from this to this because it's pushing it away from the body by its normals. You can see that it's away from the body. Then you resample this, polypath it so that you go from a bunch of polygons to a single polygon. You attribute blur, but you attribute blur using that weight. If you don't, then your 2 start points move out of position. You can see that over here, right? It's no longer lined up, but you put weight in over here, and now it lines up. Then you do a p-scale thing where the thickness is based on the point number, and then you use modulus 4, so that 3 points have a maximum value, then 1 point has a minimum value. Use that over here. You say your wire radius times p-scale. You end up with that. And then I just copy it over and make slight adjustments. So this one doesn't use that p-scale thing. This one does, and you can make changes in each one. Merge them together, normals, you end up with that. Cool thing is, it's so simple to change that if I wanted to connect this, I need to connect from here to here, right? It just connects it like that. Then that all gets merged together. So I end up with my little astronaut. And I was quite proud of this astronaut because he's got a decent amount of detail. and it was all done in Houdini with no sculpting, which I found quite interesting. Anyways, he gets cashed out, transformed, rotated a bit. I also make a VDB of him to use in the Drool source. Drool source is basically the slime setup that I had the other day. Yeah, there's nothing really fun going on here. I make a creature out of a tube. So I have this tube, I cut it in half with a clip, convert so that I have this. This gets turned into teeth, you can see over here. Merge it with the bottom, transform it like that, mirror it upwards. VDB from polygons, smooth it, convert it, you end up with a little crocodile type thing. And then I just use that to generate some points. You can see over here, it is just generating some saliva in different areas of the mouth. And then you let that run for a bit. Over here, you feed that into a network. Over time, it kind of just drips out. And then you obviously particle fluid surface, normals. And then I just found a frame that I liked. Bunch of lights. There's like different lights hitting different edges so that it just looks a bit more interesting. Volumetrics, and put a little light in there. And you end up with this. So yeah, that's it. Sorry for the boring videos. Yesterday and today weren't the most exciting, I know. I'll try to get back to the more exciting things as soon as possible. I also forgot it was, well, I didn't forget, but it was my birthday yesterday? What's today? 15th? Yeah, yesterday. So 14th was my birthday. That's another reason I didn't really do anything fancy. I just kind of took the day off. So I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.